In this episode of Ed's Retro Geekout, we head over to Tree Flea Markets and Graspop. Why?
So yeah, we're starting off this video with some footage from Graspop. I went over there, I was looking for games, but yeah, I saw like a Spyro, I found a Pikachu, but not much more than that. And then from afar, I saw a Scottsquatch coming over. What was that all about?
Hey, this is Scottsquatch, and you're watching Ed's Retro Geekout.
Alright guys, just arrived at Graspop. 4 days of Metal Mayhem, and Mayhem isn't even playing.
Fuck you!
So yeah, I met up with Scott and gave him some games, and we're just gonna head over. We're gonna show that footage now. The footage is kind of messed up. The audio kind of sucks because I had to use a mic, but it still wasn't good enough with all the noise from the festival. There's like 60,000 people there, and I'm trying to shoot a video. I can't really tell them to just shut up, you know. So yeah, sorry for the audio, but hopefully you can make something out of this.
Are we filming?
Yeah, we're
okay. Alright, so let's see what we got in the bag. Teddy Boy. Never heard of that one. I don't own that one. We got Make Panic. I'm assuming you can always tell on Master System games. They make it pretty fucking simple to understand what. Well, you're a bandit in this one. That's all you gotta be. All you gotta worry about. Predator 2. That's awesome.
I had to get a horror game for you.
That's really cool. That one actually has a cool cover.
Yeah. I mean, I always go for the ones that aren't like the regular Master System.
Yeah.
Cover art.
Yeah, which is hard to find because it even has a cool side spine. Most of them don't. We got some. Let's see. The Lion King. No, sorry. Konig der Löwen.
Yeah, it's German.
Yeah. For Lion King. Got Kickoff. A little bit of football, not soccer. Yes. I've been over here 5 times in Europe, so I know not to say soccer for sure. Road Fighter. There's never heard of this one. Dove Min Care. What system is this on? It's the armpit system. We got me eating my hair because of the win. Asterix. There's quite a few Asterix games that have come out.
It's actually a great platformer.
Yeah. They did like is this one play like Olympic games where it's different little tournaments, or is it like it's a platformer?
It's kind of like Mario.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know a lot of their games they've done that with. They made like do a track meet version and like a pole vault version
This is all right.
And then we got damn, I know how to say this too. The Swoops. The Swoops. Yes, the Smurfs. And then, there's more in here. Got for his kinky nights, a little zip tie, and some scraps of paper, a receipt. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I had to get you in some way.
That's a good stack of fucking games. No, these are awesome. I mean,
good for you. So
I appreciate it, man, very much. The Predator 2 is definitely the coolest one.
Yeah, I had to get you a horror game, right?
Very much appreciated.
Yeah, Predator 2, I knew that was going to be one of the games that Scott really was going to be into. It's a horror type game. It's a run and gun type of thing where you have to save hostages. You gotta save hostages in the levels, and you get the power up with machine guns and stuff. So you're playing as Danny Glover in Predator. Yeah, and it's actually a pretty cool game. It's too bad it's a European exclusive, but that's why I gave it to Scott. Scott was like amazing to talk to. We spoke about music, we spoke about retro games. It was definitely cool meeting up with him, but I've already told that like 1,000 times on all of the Instagrams and shit like that. It was so much fun meeting up with Scott. He's one of the reasons that I go out every week to find retro games. His videos are definitely a motivator for me to go out every week. The stuff that he finds at garage sales is insane. So yeah, that's why the rest of the episode is going to be me heading over to a couple of flea markets. We're actually going to hit up 3 flea markets in this episode, and let's see what we can find. There's always some kind of careful planning involved when you have a couple of flea markets that you really got to know like which one are we going to hit first, which one are our competitors going to go to. So yeah, we opted for this flea market first. Now people are still setting up, of course. That doesn't mean anything. There can still be some treasures found out there. We do come across a couple of things like big mother truckers. Oh yeah, we found big mother truckers, and yeah, we didn't buy that. It has a funny cover, but yeah, I'm not gonna buy that game. So yeah, other than that, we're just walking around. We're trying to figure out, hey, who's gonna set up, who has some cool stuff with him, and we actually hit the mother load. There's a guy with 80s and 90s stuff here. He's got Nintendo games, he's got Sega games, he's got Thundercats, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Ghostbusters stuff. Alright, and he's just packing it out of his car, just shit thrown together. All of this stuff is thrown together in boxes. I think we're gonna have an amazing deal over here. So we start sorting out stuff that we want, but yeah, the prices, they're insane. This guy is a reseller. He thinks he knows what this stuff is worth. I'll show you some footage of when he set up, then you can kind of like see, yeah, okay, he's a reseller. We just saw his car with stuff packed in it, and we started digging around. But I did manage to find a couple of things for like a couple of euros. I bought a folder that has all the new games coming out for the Nintendo of 1991 to 1992, and I bought a small ghost from Ghostbusters, which is always missing when you're trying to complete these figures. So this goes to one of the Ghostbusters, and yeah, it's just a plastic ghost, nothing more than that, but you hardly ever come across them, so I had to pick that one up. Other than that, over at this flea market, I also found a TMNT Bebop, one of the mutation ones, and he still had his extra accessories underneath the feet. So that's why I picked that one up for €1. She was asking too, but I was like, yeah, I'll give you €1. I don't mind paying €1 for that. But yeah, happy to add it. The toy is in excellent condition, so it's probably going to replace mine. And yeah, let's move on. So yeah, we're finding some other cool stuff over here. There's a ton of cool VHS tapes. There's some comic books, some USA comic books. I don't know why I didn't make a move on that, but I had my mindset on games and vintage toys, so that's what I'm gonna keep looking for over here. And yeah, and of course at the other side of flea market we find some games. I found 2 Game Boys. I found a Game Boy and a Game Boy Color. They are missing the battery covers. The lady doesn't know if these systems still work. So the lady was asking, I think, like 10 euros a piece on these, and then I said, like, you know, I'll give you 8 euros for both because we don't know if they're gonna work. And she took it. She also had a couple of DS games. Me and my friend rummaged through it. We did manage to find some cool stuff. There was some Mario Bros in there. We actually found Mario vs. Donkey Kong Mini Land Mayhem, which is a series that got started on the Game Boy Advance. This is the second one in the series, and there's a sequel also on the DS. So yeah, I had to get that one because it's a Mario game I didn't have yet. And then we're just moving forward. There's a lot of toys. I'm looking at the toys, and of course my friend who's walking past me to another stall, he picks up a couple of Game Boy Advance games in the box for 2 euros a piece. So I got caught slipping on that whilst looking at crap toys, really. Yeah, I'm not too proud of that moment, but you know, stuff happens, I guess. So yeah, this flea market doesn't really have anything else to offer for us, so we're gonna head over to the next one. Now, the next one is an even bigger letdown. Yeah, there's some cool stuff like a Commodore. There's some cool old vintage toys here. We bought some CDs. I don't even remember which ones I bought. But yeah, there's a reseller over here that we're actually acquainted with. I wouldn't say friends. But yeah, we do bump into this vendor a lot. So yeah, we kind of like start rummaging through all of their stuff. It's cool to see like a sea of games. There's N64 games, a whole tub. There's NES games. There's Master System games over here. And yeah, I actually find some stuff I still need. I found Monster Truck Rally for the NES, which is just a racing game. It is 4 players, but I don't know, I started playing it, it's not that great. Now, the cool thing about this vendor is that they put prices on some of the games, like a Mario will be more expensive, but all the other games that aren't really well known to her, she just pops on one price. It's like 5 euros for those type of games, 5 euros for Game Boy games. So she doesn't really make a difference on the titles, which is great because you can find stuff really cheap that is more sought after. And I actually asked her, do you still have some more stock? So are there any games that you're not showing? And she shows us this big tub, and she shows us a big box of Game Boy games. So I'm like, oh my god, there has to be at least one game I need in here. So we start looking through it. There's Game Boy Advance games, Game Boy Color games, just regular classic games in here. We do find some stuff, but yeah, nothing I need. My buddy does find a couple of games that he's gonna pick up over here, so that's great for him. She did say that I had a bag with new Game Boy games that they just brought in last weekend, so I'm like, oh, can you find it? She didn't end up finding it, so we started walking around in the flea market, and when we headed back, she was like, oh, I found it. And wouldn't you know, in this baggie there's a ton of great games. There's one game in particular that I don't see often, that is Fist of the North Star. Now, Fist of the North Star is a fighting game for the Game Boy. You get to pick out of, I think, 8 or 10 characters that you can play with. It's just, you know, button smashing. It's just a button smasher, really. But it does look cool, so I had to pick that one up as an upgrade. The cart was in great shape. I also picked up Swamp Thing, and I picked up Jordan versus Ash, which I think is a basketball game, but I'm not sure. So yeah, those 3 games I picked up for around 15 euros. Yeah, they were like 5 apiece. And then, yeah, me and my friend split up. He's gonna head over to another flea market, and I might go over to one later. And I do. I go over to this flea market, and of course it's a bust. There's nothing there except for the last stand, which has video games. So one of these games is really lurking me in, and that is Zoda's Revenge, better known as Star Tropics 2. Oh yeah, man, I've been looking for this game. It's an NTSC exclusive. You can't find it in the PAL regions. I don't know how it ended up here, but it's on this table for a great price. Not all the prices on this table are great, otherwise I would have bought a ton of stuff. But I bought this game for 10 euros, and that's fine by me. An NES game I didn't have yet. Of course, Zoda's Revenge is the sequel to Star Tropics 1. It's an RPG, so there's lots of text in here. The storyline is pretty cool, actually. And one thing that is different from the first Star Tropics... one thing that is kind of different from the first Star Tropics is that there's a lot more platforming going on. I mean, you can fall... There's like holes in the ground, and then you have to like shoot your way out. You can pick up bullets to shoot at enemies, and you have to kind of like maneuver out of these dungeons. I picked up some other stuff like an NES controller. You can never go wrong for NES controllers. This one was 5 euros, so I picked it up. It looked really neat and clean, and I also picked up Slider for the Game Gear, which is a Game Gear exclusive game. It's a really colorful puzzler game. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do here yet, but you know, it was a exclusive Game Gear game, so I had to pick it up. I love playing the Game Gear, and yeah, that was pretty much it for today. Then I picked up 3 flea markets, an okay haul, but yeah, on to the next weekend, on to more flea markets, and you know, I'll log those adventures for you every week on Monday, so be sure to stay tuned and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. So yeah, some of the best tips I can give you to catch a Scottsquatch is have some PAL only games out. He'll come like walking through the festival going like, oh, where are the games, where are the games? And I caught him. He took a selfie with me, and that was great. So yeah, I had to throw out some bait to get Scott to come over, but yeah, other than that, he was a really nice guy. Just the way you see him on his YouTube videos. Awesome dude. Thanks so much for meeting up with me, and hopefully I'll see you next time you come around to Europe.